everyone, welcome to the April vlog. We're almost at Easter. It's coming up this weekend, so I've actually got a short week. I've only got 2 days in the shop before I have a day off and then come back for 2 days and then have 2 more days off. Then I'll work for 3 and have another day off as we get into Anzac Day. So all this month is proving to be a bit of a challenge. I also had to have a day off last week. I had appointments down in Brisbane, complete schmozzle that was, but I've had 3 weeks where I've only been open for 4 days. So this month is proving to be a little bit of a challenge, but it has been good this morning. I started my day off, as I always do, packing the orders that came in over the weekend. So they're all packed, sitting over on my bench. Just got to do the shipping labels and then I can take them with me this afternoon. And then I have just got on to tidying up a few more of my emails. I spent all day yesterday, well, not all day. I spent a majority of yesterday morning clearing out my emails. There were just so many I haven't been able to get on top of. I spent all this time clearing it out, got them down to no emails, and then they just keep coming. So this morning I have just cleared out a few more emails, and now I'm getting on to making a custom private label order. In last month's vlog we made the activated charcoal soap, which I said was for this order. That's on the cure rack. It's due to come off at the end of this week, so now it's time to get on to finishing up the rest of the products that they ordered as well. They ordered some aftershave cream. They've got 5 bottles each of the 2 scents that I offer, and I was just waiting for her to confirm the label. So I designed a couple of different labels. I asked which one she preferred. She confirmed that to me yesterday, so I've just printed those up so I can then go ahead and label these aftershave creams up. And then she has also ordered 100 lip balms as well, 3 different flavors. So there will be an extra couple in there just because it makes it easier to pour them. But I've just popped all of the tubes into the tray, and I'm going to get on to weighing down and melting all those ingredients out, and we'll make her lip balms. She also confirmed she wanted the black tubes. I offer in black and white, and confirmed that she liked the labels that we sent through too. So I am going to get on to making that today, so that tomorrow we'll be able to label those lip balms, and on Saturday she's actually going to come and pick them up. She's just down on the other side of Brisbane, so she's actually going to come up for the day, and she's going to come and pick her order up rather than me shipping it down to her. So I need to get all of that done today, tomorrow, so it's ready for her on Saturday, because as I said, Friday I won't be open. It has been a busy morning, so much so that it is already lunchtime. So what I'll do is probably just go and grab a bite to eat, and then we'll get on to making our lip balms. Right, so I clearly messed up when I put all of the tubes into those lip balm filling trays earlier today. I was pouring out the first one, the mint one. Not only did I mess that up, I miscalculated which cup I actually needed to pour the balm mix into and picked the cup that was too small. And when the cup's too small, I can't actually pour it out without spilling it everywhere. So I made a complete and utter mess of it. But I got to the end of that first cup and it's like, I've got so much balm mix left in this cup. What have I done wrong? Have I not got enough? Have I overmade? Or my mind was going, and I thought, no, you've only put 25 tubes into the tray instead of 35. So I had to go and find another tray out, put 10 more in for that mint one I was doing, and then put the extra 10 in each of the other trays, so I had enough to pour the other ones out. I don't know, that was just not going well for me. But they're all made, they're all there, so they're all fine. It was just miscalculating that, and I've got half of the labels printed up and then ran out of the 65mm label paper. It's at home, so I have to bring that in tomorrow, and then tomorrow we'll label up all those lip balms. I labelled up the aftershave cream, so that's all ready to go. We can pull the tomorrow afternoon I'm actually going to take her soap off the counter. It's off the rack. It's not due to come off the rack until Friday, but you know, what's the difference between taking it off Thursday afternoon and Friday morning? There really isn't. I'm not going to be here on Friday, and I don't want to be running around madly on Saturday in case it's really busy trying to get her order all put together. So tomorrow afternoon I'll actually put it all together so it's ready for her to pick up on Saturday when she comes up here. So that's all done. I have just finished wrapping up all of the air fresheners that I took the photos of. I was trying to think whether I was meant to put them on the rack up there or into the internet box. I did it so long ago in the shop. I basically had, I think there were 15 of each design. I've split it in half, and then I put half, I know 15 doesn't really go in half very well, but half of them were designated to go on the website, half of them on the rack. And I can't remember where these ones were meant to go, if they were meant to go on the rack or not. If they're meant to go on that rack, there should only be 7 of a design up there. So I'll have to go and count them. If there's 8 of a design up there, it has to go into the online box. But you know what? I might just stick them on the website box anyway, because it doesn't matter if I've got more in that box, but it does matter if I've got less, because that's how I end up overselling. But I've got all of my orders ready to go. I've got a couple of minutes until I shut the door, so I'm going to go and do my banking, make sure that's all balanced and closed off. I'm also going to bring everything in from outside and then head off home. It has been such a good, productive day today. I'll give you some more information on that tomorrow, because I can see someone's about to walk through the door right on 4 o'clock. You're sneaking around the wall. What are you doing? Quick! Where's he gone? He's going there. Alright, now as much as I would love to sit here and sew all day, I just can't. I have just, since moving to this new house, I've really developed that passion for sewing that I used to have. In the last couple of houses, I never really got my machine out very much. It was just too much of a hassle. But now I've got this dedicated space. I'm really getting back into it. And I decided I'd have a go at doing a little bit of a quilting bag making project, because I always used to I loved quilting. I've got so many quilts, and I used to like making bags as well. And I found this really nice piece of fabric. I've got a nice bag pattern. I'm going to make myself a little wash bag. So I've just I've just done these are going to be the side pieces, and I've just realized when I get home tonight I'm going to have to get the quick unpick out. What a stupid mistake. Only because my OCD is not going to be able to deal with it if I don't do it. No one else is going to know, but I know, so it therefore has to be undone. I've just sewn on what will be the little handle at the end of this bag. So I've done all my top stitching around here, and I forgot to change my bobbin thread. So now it's blue and very noticeable on that fabric. So I need to actually change that into a white to match all the rest of the stitching. I know it's not that much of a thing, and it is just for me, but it is still, you know, you may as well make things really nice for yourself as well. So I will have to unpick that tonight when I get home. I'll do that while watching a bit of telly, and then tomorrow I'll probably be able to get really stuck into it and get this bag done. Really enjoying making this project. I do have to go into the shop early. It is almost 7:30. I'm just going to finish my coffee, find Pepper a couple of biscuits, and then pop her outside. I'm going in early for a couple of reasons. First of all is I need to go and get Pepper some treats. She really wanted one last night. She was sooking and crying, and she wouldn't settle at all. And when I got up and started to walk towards the kitchen, she bolted in there and up to the cupboard where we keep her treats. And she only ever asks for them, you know, maybe once every 4 or 5 days. So whenever she does ask, I usually give her one. If she's asking nightly, I wouldn't. I would, you know, be on my terms. But when she only asks once a week, I give her one when she asks. And last night I didn't have any in the box. I completely forgotten to go and get any for her. I tend to go into Coles and buy them out of the pick and mix bins, because they do all the fresh raw treats. They don't do all the, not fresh raw, natural treats for them is the word I'm looking for. I don't feed our dogs I used to feed one of our dogs rawhide until she became sick, and the doctors pointed out that rawhide treats, not doctors, vets, they're a doctor to an animal, they pointed out that rawhide treats aren't actually any good for animals. And when you actually read the packaging on rawhide treats, it says on them that the dogs shouldn't be eating them. They're just meant to chew them. I mean, come on, what dog's not going to eat rawhide when you give it to them? How are you meant to get it back off? Well, Pepper does give us food back. I've always trained the dogs to give me food back without problems, and Pepper will give me food back, but that's a bit Indian giving them something to chew on and then taking it away so they can't chew on it. Anyhow, so I've actually got to stop off in Coles this morning and go and pick her up some treats from there. They do things like kangaroo tails, which she loves, like the little vertebrae, and she loves them. They're the right size for her. She really, really enjoys them, keeps her teeth really good. And then I'll pick her up a couple of other like bits and pieces. So she can actually have, I did end up giving her something last night. I have a box of treats. My sister-in-law comes and cleans the house for us each week. I know that sounds really, really bad, but we're helping her out. She needs that little bit of extra money, so we pay her to come in and do the vacuuming and cleaning, so it's one less thing we have to do. And she's got her own separate box of treats to give to Pepper when she leaves the house, if Pepper's being good. And I don't tend to like to give my sister-in-law's treats to her, but I had to last night, so she got one of them. But I have to go and get her some this morning. The other thing I have to do, I actually have to clean the windows in the shop this morning. They are filthy. There is so much construction work going on up here on the Sunshine Coast that there is just always dust in the air, so the windows are always dirty. And at the moment, my windows are absolutely filthy with all the rain we've had and everything too. But the reason I actually need to clean them is I also need to take a couple of good photographs of the front of the shop too. And that's because yesterday I actually struck up a deal with someone to do a little write-up in one of the local magazines. It's called the Caloundra Chronicle. In fact, I have my copy here on the desk. This was the last one that went out, and there's all these, if you live up here, you should keep an eye out for them. There's lots of little write-ups about different places here on the Sunshine Coast. And she's actually been into the shop a few times, and she has purchased stuff, and she really likes my products. And I did say to her when she first approached me, when I first moved in, I just didn't have the budget to do advertising at that point because I just set up the shop, just moved and all that sort of stuff. And she sent me an email yesterday saying that she knew that, you know, I'm on a tight budget, but she put through a proposal for me. I actually countered her proposal to make me feel a little bit better. Her proposal was, this is the price that she charges for a quarter page and a half page in the book. Would I be interested in doing a product exchange instead of monetary exchange? Because, you know, sometimes when you are actually working closely with someone, it's pointless you giving them money for them to give you money back. And I really, really, really wanted the half page, but I felt really bad to say, well, can I have a half page? So I actually wrote to her and I said, how about I pay for a quarter page because I can afford that, and then we do a product exchange for the half, like to build it up to a half page. So basically I'm paying half and giving her half in product. And she was really, really happy with that. She said there's a few things that she actually needs to come into the shop and grab some gift packs and stuff like that. So it works for both of us at the end of the day. So we agreed to that, and she's going to write up a little article, and I said I'll send through a couple of photos for her. And I thought it would be really nice to actually take a picture of the shop so people could actually see the article and see what the shop actually looks like. So I need to clean my window so I can actually take a photo of the shop. So enough yakking. Pepper's outside, so I'm going to shut her door, grab her a biscuit, and then I'm going to head on out. But I've got to finish my coffee first. Okay, so it seems to be that I'm having one of those sort of months again where I think I've got things done and sorted in my head and I actually don't. I got home yesterday, went to go and pick up the 65mm label rolls from where I thought they were in my cupboard at home. I picked up the roll and so that doesn't feel right. I measured it and it's only 50mm. So what I thought was in my little 65mm pile, I've actually put 50mm labels and I didn't have any 65. So all I've actually done is I already had some 50mm down here, but I bought down an extra roll as well. I've just printed them up on the 50mm. And I'm just trimming the end of it off here. Like, no big deal, it just adds that little bit of extra work time to it, but I've now got all of those labels cut so I can start labeling up those lip balms. I came in this morning, I got everything done I wanted to on the way, so I stopped off, got Pepper her treats. I also stopped off at the chemist, then came in, got those windows cleaned, so they're looking really good. I do have a couple of water streaks on this inside, on the inside middle window, and that's because there actually is a leak in the roof, which the owners, I've just had an email this morning saying the owners have signed off to get it fixed. Basically when it rains really, really heavy, the gutters overflow and for some reason they flow back into the roof and it's been running down my window. So I've got all these water streaks going down the window, but I've got all the shelving there, so I can't get in there to actually clean the windows very easily. Maybe once they've fixed the roof, I'll come in one day and actually move the shelving and clean that window and get it nice and clean so it looks a bit more presentable. But I did get the windows cleaned. I got my photos taken, so I'll get those edited and send them off to the lady running the Calandra Chronicle. What else have I been doing? I've had a couple of customers come in, so that's been really nice. What I'm going to do now, or what I have also done this morning, talking of these labels, I did actually get onto the website and order my 65mm rolls of label. So I've ordered 10 rolls of that. That should keep me going for quite some time. And then I also ordered some shipping boxes because I was running really low on some of those. Some of my courier bags, I've only got 5 left of the most common size I use. And I've been thinking about ordering from them. I keep thinking every weekend I should put that order in, But I've been putting it off because the shed where I park my car and have all the excess stock and where I keep the shipping boxes, it's been a bit of a mess since we moved in. I've had like the old sink from the old shop. I've had the sink and the dishwasher and the point of sale counters in there, and we've also had a couple of other bits of furniture that we bought up with us but decided we actually really didn't need. And it's kind of this thing. I say, put them here so I can still access these shelves. And then next time I go in, hubby's moved stuff around and I can't access the shelves. So I haven't really been keeping on top of stock levels in there because I can't get to things. And last weekend I absolutely cracked it. I said, right, it's got to go. I don't care what we get for it, it has got to go. So we basically put everything that we didn't want up onto Marketplace, and the last of it actually went last night. So I now have all of my space back in the shed and I can see what needs to be ordered, what I've got plenty of. I can reorganize things to, get it looking really good. But because of that, I haven't been ordering my shipping boxes because I thought, well, if I put the order in, there's likely to be something else that I need. So we'll just do it as one big order. So this morning I also sat and did my shipping box order so I don't run out and kick myself for not putting the order in. So it has been a productive morning so far. Now that I've got all of these labels trimmed up, I'm going to get the lip balms out of the filling tray, cap them, label them, and then we'll get that order all ready to go out. Her name's Tanya, and I'll get all that ready for Tanya to pick up on Saturday. And then I'm going to see what else needs to be done for the day. There's not a lot of actually there is something I need to make, but I might not make it till the weekend. I need to top up the hair masks, but I might do that on Saturday. So I've got some packaging to do on Sunday. I'm sure I can find other things that need to be done today. I need to do a bit of cleaning actually. I think that's what I really need to do. So let me get onto these lip balms and then I might have a little bit of a cleaning session. Friday. I am home for the day. We've had a pretty good morning so far. I was meant to have a sleep in this morning. Hubby said that he would try and be really, really quiet so I could have a sleep in because I've been really, really tired lately. But someone down there had other thoughts. She generally wakes me up in the morning, and this morning she did so again at about 6 o'clock. So I kind of did get a bit of a sleep in. She usually wakes me up about 5:30. So, well, she usually wakes me up at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and then 5 o'clock. That's something completely different. She was outside with hubby, I think. I actually didn't hear her at first. Didn't even hear him get up to go to work. And then all of a sudden, I felt her jump on top of me on the bed, and she stuck a cold nose in my face and then ran off again. So it's like, oh, all right, I'm awake. I may as well get up. So I got up, and hubby was just getting ready to actually go to work, being on his early shift. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to take Pepper for a walk. And there's this really nice walk I found to do if I actually get hubby to drop me off up the road and then I walk back. It's a few kilometers. I'm building up to bigger walks with her, but she doesn't like having a harness put on because she's no longer in control. So she hates a harness. So I'm trying to take her on short walks where I can let her be in a little bit more control and not think her harness is such a bad thing. Whereas if we go for a really, really long walk, that takes time, and, you know, allowing her that bit of freedom adds more time. So a 2.5, 3 kilometre walk still takes me half an hour to do, whereas I used to do a 5 kilometre walk with Lucy in about 40 minutes. So we'll build up to it, we will. But we got back and she had this massive zoomy attack around the house and garden. And then she's just crashed. She has absolutely crashed for the rest of the morning, which has been brilliant. So I got on to doing a little bit of admin work on the computer. I just had a couple of things I had to do. That is all done. So I basically now have the day free to do what I want to do. And you know what? I want to sit in my sewing room and sew. Even though I'm sewing stuff for the shop, it's just something I love to do. And I didn't realize until we moved into this house how much I have missed sewing. I really, really have missed sewing. So it's so nice just to sit in here. I'm enjoying the sun that's coming in through the window because we haven't seen a lot of sun in the last month. Which is why my vitamin D levels have just, and I'm now having to take vitamin D. Sunshine, it needs to stay out. Anyhow, I'm going to sit here, enjoy this bit of sun. I'm sewing up some more of the heat pack covers. I've got 4 more designs, and then that is it for this year on the new designs. So I'm going to get these sewn up. And the reason I'm doing it, I need these little clips back that I have got holding these together. I'm in two minds about these little clips that people use for sewing. In the time between me not sewing and starting sewing again, these little clips have become so popular in the sewing world. And I did get some, and it's taken me a while to kind of get used to them. I still like my flower head pins. But as with so much of my sewing stuff, it's really, really old, and they're not as sharp. So I do kind of mix between my pins and these clips. Tend to use the clips for holding stuff temporarily, like this. Doesn't really need pinning, whereas when I make something like some clothes, I will use my pins to make sure nothing slips and slides. But I was trying to do something the other day and really needed the clips, and all of them were on these heat packs. So I want to sew these up so I get my my clips back, and then I can get some photos of them on my days off and pop these last designs up onto the website. I'm also going to be working a little bit more on the little bag I was making. So this is the sort of stuff I used to really love doing. I used to love quilting and making bags and stuff, and I haven't done it for so long. And I found this nice pattern. I found this gorgeous fabric in my fabric stash. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a go at making myself a little wash bag. And then I reminded myself why I avoid buying patterns that have binding on the outside. I hate doing bias binding on stuff like this. I don't mind doing bias binding on a quilt because it's nice and easy, but I hate doing it on these rounded edges and things. And I hate when they say to top stitch bias binding because I don't like how it all works. you'd know if you were sewer. It looks ugly to me when you top stitch bias binding. So I'm actually going to be hand sewing all of my bias binding onto here, but it's coming up really cute. So I'm going to keep working, get these heat pack covers done first because that's for the shop, and then I'm going to keep working on this little bag for myself. It's coming up probably a little bit bigger than what I had intended, but I think the small might have been a bit too small. I was thinking about making some of them for the shop so you can actually put, you know, your moisturizers and stuff in when you go away, but I'm not enjoying the pattern. So you won't get this style if I do decide to add any in there, but I'm going to keep working on these today. Enjoy this sunshine that's coming through the window. I might even this afternoon, just before hubby gets home, start editing the video on here. Miss Pepper and I will also go out in the garden and have a little bit of a play once she recovers from her zoomy attacks this morning, but I'm going to keep getting on with sewing these up. That is all of them now sewn together. That's 40 of them. All I need to do now is tonight is sit and sew these ends in. I always catch the ends of my the beginning stitches in. So tonight I'll have to sit and thread all of those in while I'm sitting and watching telly with hubby, and then turn them the right way through. And then I have to just finish off some inserts to go in them, and then they are done, and no more heat packs for the rest of this season at least. If they sell out this year, then I'll be making some new ones for next year. I've just spotted where Pepper is. I don't know if I'll be able to show you. She disappeared outside for a while and I wondered what she was doing, and I thought there was a bird sitting just down in the corner. What you doing out there? Are you chasing bugs? Shall I come out and have a bit of a play with you? Pepper, what are you doing out there? Are you chasing bugs? So I'm taking a 10-minute break from doing the sewing just to get a bit of fresh air, to stretch my legs, and to see what this monster is up to. I have to keep a real eye on her when I'm not in at the house. But I thought I'd also give you a little bit of an update on what's going on with the garden. You can see I actually need to weed this again. I'd love to put some mulch or chip bark or something on it, but I also know that with the way that Pepper runs through this, the chip bark is never going to survive in here. So I have to try and work out what to do just to keep all the moisture in for the plants, stop the weeds, all the rest of it. This is my parents' blood orange tree. Can't decide if it does or doesn't like it here. It looks like it threw off a few new leaves, but it does also look like it is struggling a little bit. And then over here we've got the fig tree. If anyone saw the last vlog, you will know that I planted this fig tree, and then a certain someone decided one day to pull it out of the ground. And when she pulled it out of the ground, she actually did break, I've just walked into a big spider web. She actually did break the stem of the tree, and it really wasn't doing very well when I put it back in the ground. It did end up throwing all the leaves off the top, plus the couple of figs that were on here, and I thought, oh well, I've lost it, I'll have to get another one. But we've just kind of left it because we've had such awful weather, and I've noticed that all these new leaves are sprung out down the bottom, which is below where the break was. And there's also another sort of sticky bit, another branch sticking out over there, and it's thrown some leaves up there. Now I'm looking closely right down the bottom, which the camera's probably not going to pick up. There is another little branch growing out of it. So I think this little fig tree is going to survive, and with the life that it started out with, it will probably absolutely flourish in here. Now I have also acquired another plant in here. This one is actually from my mother-in-law, and it is a kaffir lime leaf or muckrat tree, depending what you prefer to call them. She has just moved from out of a house into a unit, and she couldn't take this with her. When she actually bought it, she thought she was buying a lime tree and didn't realise that this is not the type of lime that she was after. So she's had it growing out the back, and when we got it, it was covered in mealybugs. So I gave it a really, really good prune back, sat it somewhere away from all my other plants, just to see if we could get rid of some of this mealybug that was on it. And then I planted it, because when I went to look at it one day, I noticed that there were all these new leaves on it. And I said to hubby, I think it's going to like it here. Let's get it in the ground so I don't shock it too much. We've planted it in here. All the mealybug has disappeared, and we've got all this beautiful, beautiful new growth on here. There was so much mealybug on here, I really didn't actually want to use it for any cooking, but now that's all gone, I can actually use the leaves for cooking. And I can see we've got lots of flowers coming up as well, and the hope is that this is going to grow into a really nice big tree, and then as we prune it back, I'll be able to harvest those leaves and make some. Ages ago, I was given some leaves from a friend who makes jams and stuff, and I turned it into a hydrosol and made some beautiful face products with it. So my hope is to get this actually growing, and we'll be able to use the leaves to make that hydrosol and get that lotion and face wash back in stock that I used to have. But it's really loving it here with all the new growth. Now, the other thing we've done is also planted out this little bit of garden over here. Now, if you've been watching over the last few years, you'll know that I have a vanilla orchid, and I have had vanilla beans off it and everything. And when we moved up here, I did honestly think I was going to lose it. But we've put it over the back here, and it's doing really well. And I've been checking on it regularly. It's grown some beautiful roots, absolutely beautiful roots. And then I got super duper excited the other day because I noticed a whole new piece growing from off here. And that's how I know this plant is once again happy. What it tends to do, it's like a big long vine, and it gets to a point and it stops growing, and then sometime during the next year it throws off a new branch, and usually from off that new branch is where I get the flowers, which I then pollinate to make my vanilla beans. So fingers crossed, come September we might have a little flower bundle on this one. Really, really hoping we do, because it's absolutely loving this spot. But one of the things I've always wanted to go with my vanilla orchid is a cocoa theobroma, or a chocolate tree to go with it, because where these plants are native, they tend to grow on the chocolate plants. Bunnings got some chocolate theobroma in, so I bought one. So here it is. Let's see if we can get over this fence a little bit more. I saw this one in Bunnings a couple of weeks ago. I can see something's had a bit of a chomp at one of the leaves, but I can also see it's thrown off lots of new leaves off the top there as well. So it obviously likes this spot. So we've got our little chocolate tree, or our theobroma tree growing in here. And the other thing I actually had just over the back there, and I also have another one. Where are you? Down here, I have a couple of coffee plants as well. So what goes better than coffee, chocolate and vanilla? So we've got those growing in here. Hopefully we'll get some fruits and things from off them. And at the end, I have another inherited plant from my mother-in-law, again, because she is moving. I have, these are some pawpaw or papaya. I don't know if it's papaya or pawpaw. I'm suspecting probably pawpaw. There is actually meant to be a difference between pawpaw and papaya, not just in the way that people pronounce or spell them. There is actually meant to be a difference between the plants. She couldn't tell me if it was a unisex plant or if it was a male or a female, but there were actually two plants in the pot. So hopefully, if it's not a unisex one, I've got a male and a female in the ground there, so we'll get some fertilized fruit. Otherwise, hopefully it is also unisex, and we've got two unisex plants there, and we'll get lots of pawpaw off that in the coming years, hopefully. So yeah, we worked on doing this little garden bed along here, fenced it off so that Madam couldn't pull it out. She was not too impressed, but hopefully once it gets all established, we can take that fence down and we'll get some beautiful coffee and chocolate and vanilla from off these plants. While I'm out here taking a bit of a break, what we might do is head into the shed and go and get all the shipping boxes that I need to pop into my car to take into the shop tomorrow, so that I remember to do it during daylight hours and I'm not racing around tomorrow morning trying to do it. So let's go and have a look. Look at all this lovely space. This was so jam-packed of all the excess stuff that we've just managed to sell, but now it's all gone. I've only got one more thing left to sell, which I think I'm just going to have to throw it away, I think. Down the bottom here, I have like a little grey water system that you use in retail shops when you don't actually have all the proper plumbing. It was put into my old shop. It's worth just under $2,000 and we've got it on sale for $200 and just no one's looking at it because it's just such a unique thing. So unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to end up throwing that out. But what I do want to do now that I've got all of this space available in here, I actually want to sort through these fragrance oils. I used to buy my fragrance oils in 10-litre cartons like this. But unfortunately, over the years, the sale of candles has really declined and I don't go through them nearly as quickly as what I used to. So I think I actually want to just sell off the excess oil that I don't need anymore. So that might be a thing for me to do on my days off from the shop. But I think for now what we're going to do is sort through this top lot and find out which shipping boxes I need to take down to the shop to stock them up with. I got a new sticker to go in my car window, but because of how dark the tint is in the windows, and it's not actually a film tint, the actual glass is tinted itself, it's not really showing up that well, but it could be because we're also inside the garage, so it hasn't got all the natural light going through. So hopefully when I'm outside and we've got natural light coming through into the car, it might stand out a little bit more. I saw this quote which says, "My windows aren't dirty, that's my dog's nose art," and ever since I saw it, I really wanted it to go on my back window here. Every car that I've ever had, the dogs have always traveled in it, and my back passenger window always has dog nose marks on it. So I just wanted to have this saying. I received the sticker yesterday. I thought I'll put it on while hubby's not home, and then next time he goes to clean my car, it might give him a bit of a laugh when he sees it. And I was hoping other people would see it and have a laugh as well, but hopefully when it's out in the natural light, it might get a little bit brighter. I did have it printed in white to try and get it to stand out, but yeah, it hasn't quite panned out the way I wanted it to, but I know it's there. It's cute. And if you get up really close to the car, you can actually read it as well. It almost looks like it's been etched onto the window. But being a tinted glass rather than a film on this, it won't hurt if we actually pull that sticker off. It won't pull the window tint off or anything like that. So I'll see what happens, see if I can find a better solution for it. But at least my window is actually clean until the next time Pepper gets in there. So that's done. We've got all the shipping boxes into the car as well. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a tip. If you do get your shipping boxes in big boxes, the way that I have found to actually store them makes it so much easier to pick out the boxes that I need to take down the shop, and I'll show you. Now, I generally only find this works when I've got a full box of boxes. If they've already split the boxes, because I've only say ordered 50 instead of 100, I find the boxes tend to collapse. But when I get my big boxes in, so this is my most common size, this B4 one. When I get them, so the top of the box is actually in there, and this is the side of the box. But what I tend to do is I split the tape down these top and the bottom of the box, and then I split it open along here, and then basically I just lift the flap and pull out what I want. But I can actually quickly and easily see what size box it is, so I can come along, I say, right, I need some B12s, I can come along, open it up and grab my boxes out of there, so I know exactly what each of these boxes are along here. As I said, with these bigger boxes, I only got 50, lots of 50 rather than 100, and the boxes do collapse on themselves, so next time I'll order a box of 100 so I get a full stable box of them. And I actually discovered that trick after I'd got these ones down here. So these ones I often have to pull off of the shelf. It's not too bad because they're quite small, but I usually have to pull them off the shelf so I can actually see what size box they really are. So yeah, if you do get your boxes like that, try splitting your box across the top and the bottom and then down the one side and creating a flap. It makes it so much easier. But now that I've got all that done, I'm going to head off into the house. Hubby will be home in about an hour's time. So I'm going to go and see if I can do a little bit more sewing before he gets home, and maybe even start editing part of this vlog. All right, I'm running about 15 to 20 minutes late, and it's not because I was late leaving the house. It is because the traffic out there, oh my goodness, it's worse than a weekday out there right now. I don't think there's any accidents or anything. There is just the sheer number of people coming to the coast for the long weekend. Normally on a weekend, I can leave 35 minutes before opening time, and I'm in here with 5 minutes to spare, and I come straight down the main road. So that's what I did today, thinking that's what I would be able to do. And I shouldn't have. I should have treated it like a weekday, if not more than a weekday. I basically, on weekends, I usually come straight down the main road and straight into Caloundra. And on weekdays, I have to actually come halfway down the main road and then shoot off down a branch, which actually takes me in the opposite direction to where I need to go, but it kind of takes you around in a circle and brings you into the side of Caloundra, and you skip all the bottlenecks and all the drama that is out there with peak hour traffic. But it still takes, on a weekday, I have to give myself about 45 minutes to get into the shop, to give myself 5 minutes to open up as well. But today, oh my goodness, it has taken me 50 minutes to get into the shop. The traffic out there is horrendous. But anyhow, we're in. Hopefully it does mean it's going to be a busy day here and that people aren't just heading to the beach. We'll see what happens. We've got a few things I have to do today. First thing I have to do is go and put all these shipping boxes away. Does anyone want a pepperfied shipping box in their next order? No, I'll actually use this box for storing stuff in the shop, so it won't go to waste. But I hadn't realised while I was busy putting the sticker in my car window, Pepper was busy sitting on the back seat chewing the corner of that box. So I'll find a use for it. We're going to get these shipping boxes put away. Yesterday, I put together a couple of extra gift packs to go in the shop. Really good for Mother's Day, birthdays, that sort of thing. It's just got a little heat pack, a candle, and a hand cream. This particular gift pack is available on the website, but not in these boxes. The gift sets are already heavily reduced, and to ship them in this box is going to just push shipping up way too high for me. So when you order this pack as a gift on the website, I will pack it up nicely in one of the shipping boxes, and I've got some special Mother's Day paper under my counter for those orders as well. But I have just made up a couple for here. I have to make up some barcode price tags for these to pop out and make it easier for me to scan. What else have I got to do today? I have a couple of soaps on the cure rack that I need to pull off for me, and yesterday I printed up the belly band. These are a couple of new Claytanical soaps. We've got the cucumber and green tea coming off. I have a scrubby soap. This is the one that I made as part of the private order, but decided it wasn't scrubby enough for her, which is predominantly male customers, so remade it for her order, but it does mean I've now got one. And then I've also got another batch of calamine to come off, so I'm going to prepare these labels and get those soaps done. I also need to make a couple of little soapy embeds for a soap I need to work on, so I'm going to have a go at making those if I can. I did say earlier I was going to make some hair masks, but none of them have sold this week, so I actually might leave that till next week and get on to making this soap, because this is something I should have made a little while ago and I've just been putting it off, mainly because of the embed. Which, yeah, now that I've actually worked out how I'm going to make the embed, I'm a little bit more enthusiastic about making this soap. So I think they're the more important things to do today. So I'm going to get on with doing that, and we'll see where else the day actually leads. I am so ready to go home. I am so exhausted, but on this absolute high. It has been such an amazing day today. It's been one of those days that you imagine is what retail is, you know, this constant stream of traffic going in and out of the shops, but the actual reality of it is there are very few small businesses that have that constant turnover of customers. Sometimes you can be waiting half an hour up to 2 hours between customers, and some days you don't see any at all. But today has been that constant stream of customers as people have come in and then gone. 5 minutes later, more people come in and go, and then I've had 2 or 3 people in the shop at once. It has just been absolutely amazing today. Yeah, really needed today. I had Tanya come in and pick up her private order. I then had Alana come in from the Caloundra Chronicle. We had a bit of a chat about the article. She purchased a few things. We had a little bit of a talk about the business and that sort of thing to give her an idea about what to write. So that was really good, and she picked up a few of her things as part of the contra deal that we're doing. But yeah, so many people, and I've met both locals and tourists today, which is absolutely fantastic. They have said that up here for the last couple of school holidays, it hasn't been as busy as what it usually is, so I was really worried, especially with last week. It was really quiet. Not many people seem to be here, but they just seem to have come out for Easter, and that sunshine has just really brought everyone out, put everyone in a great spending mood. So it's been an absolutely wonderful day. Not only have I been run off my feet with customers, brilliant problem to have had, I have also been busy pottering around doing stuff. So these are the 3 soaps which I've taken off the cure rack. We've got them all labelled up, and tomorrow I'm going to shrink wrap them. Over on this bench, I had to make some little soapy in beds. I was going to make the soap this afternoon, but as I said, it's just been so busy, I haven't had a chance. So I'm going to come in early tomorrow and make the soap for this one. I then made the hair mask. We're running really low, and I thought if I don't make it, any bet I will get an order for it and I won't have it, and that will just delay the order going out. So I made a batch of my hair mask, and then I also realized over here I've got just a very small batch of the new tallow cream. So in last month's vlog, you saw that I was making the new tallow cream to be launched at the start of this month, April. And for my Pamper Club members, I was giving them a free sample tin with their orders. And I only actually made 4 of those tins when I did that first batch up, because it's that time of year where there's school fees, credit card fees, and all that sort of stuff. So there's not that many orders coming in, and I hadn't seen a lot of Pamper Club orders coming through, maybe 1 or 2 a month. So I just made 4 up, and I thought I can always make more if I needed. I launched that tallow cream for the 1st of April. The Pamper Club, the 4 that I had for my Pamper Club, just bam, they were gone, and the pots that I'd made pretty much sold out as soon as I released this tallow cream. It's like, whoa, this is, you know, popular product. So I had to make up another batch, and I made up another 4, and they have now all gone as well. I sent the last of those out last week. So I was sitting there thinking today, I've still got a couple of Pamper Club members who it's their birthday this month and they get an extra special bonus, and they haven't placed orders yet online. So still a couple of weeks for them to be able to do that. And I thought, well, I better actually make some more of this cream up so that I can send out the sample pots if they do order. But just in case they don't order, what I've done is I've got about a 400 gram batch here, and tomorrow when I come in, what we'll do is pop it into a airtight container. Instead of making up the tins, I'll just pop it into an airtight container, and then if I get a Pamper Club order, I'll be able to grab a tin, pop some of the cream in, label it up and send it out. If I don't get any more orders, I'll just pop this up into the usual jars and sell it like so. So it just stops a little bit of that wastage. But I thought I better make that up, because if I get a Pamper Club member order over the next couple of days and I haven't got these made up, it's really going to delay getting their orders shipped out. But that is it for now. I am going to head home, go and enjoy the rest of the afternoon. It's just so beautiful out there. It's been a long time since we've had a really nice day. I'm gonna go home, enjoy that, and see what the next sewing project is I'm gonna make, because I have to show you my finished bag when I'm at home as well. Good morning. It is an absolutely beautiful day out there for Sunday. The markets were setting up and they look like they're going to be a big market today. So hopefully lots of people will be out and I'll get a little bit of that flow through traffic. I don't get as much Sunday traffic here as I did when I was in Cleveland because of the way the markets are set up and where people park. They don't tend to walk past the shop as much, which is a little bit of a shame, but that's just the way it is. And hopefully as more and more people learn that I'm here, more and more people will come out in the market and down to me. But it will come with time. I did come into the shop super early today because I have a soap over here that I had to make and record. It's actually one of the Patreon Design Challenge soaps and I have been really slack at making it. I should have made it a few weeks ago, but the mojo just hasn't been there for soap making of late. And when it's not there, I don't force myself to make them because they just don't work. But I did have a bit of a light bulb moment last week, which explains so much. And I'm now working through this light bulb moment and trying to get that mojo back. And I decided yesterday, just get everything set up and come into the shop in the morning and make the soap, get that creativity going, and we'll be able to push through this. So that's what I did yesterday. I made the oils up, the lye, did the embeds, and this morning I've made the soap. I'm just waiting for the top of that to firm up because I've got a little bit of piping to do and I don't want my piping to sink or to mess up that top layer. So just waiting for that to happen. I've got about 15 minutes until the door opens, but I thought I'd share a couple of the changes I made in the shop as well while that door's still closed. So if you do follow my social media pages, you know that I've been working on heat packs, and this is usually where the heat packs are. Now, I have brought out so many new designs. There wasn't enough space here, and I knew I wanted to put in another shelf just dedicated to the heat packs that people were going to notice. But I was kind of running out of a little bit of a space, and then it kind of hit me. I needed to have a little bit of a move around, and I've created this little area here. So before I had all of the wax melts against this counter. These two, there's actually two shelves in that little case there. They were side by side and I had the fragrance warmers and the heat pack, the melts sitting on top of them. And I decided that I wanted to put my heat packs here. So I basically put those two cubes on top of each other and made myself a nice little tall stand here. And the really good thing with that, it actually hides a lot of the mess that I've got on top of the counter there. Gave me a little bit more storage space behind there too. And then I bought a new Ivar shelf just dedicated to putting the heat packs on. So where did I put my melts? The original idea was to leave the melts here and put this stand in the corner, but it just was not fitting. So I sat there thinking about it and I decided that why don't I just put all of my heat packs over there? And one of the things I actually really didn't like when you walked into my shop was down here we have these other shelving units and I just had a mishmash of stuff. There was clearance stuff, there was gift packs, and it just, I don't know, if I'm really honest with myself, it looked like a mess. It really did. And it wasn't very appealing. Some people would walk in, look at it and walk back out. And I decided I have to actually make the entrance a lot more appealing to get people to follow on through. So I decided to move all of my melts down here. And what I've noticed, not only because they smell good, the smell wafts out into the street, so many people actually now stop and they rummage through these melts. And since moving them down here a couple of weeks ago, I have sold more of these little melts than I have sold in all of my time of actually being up here. So it's been a really good move to actually pop these at the front. People look at them, rummage through them, and then they actually walk up into the rest of the shop to come and see what else is in here. So these little changes, it's all about learning, working out what works best for customers and things like that. And just these little changes have made such a big difference. A lot of people have now really noticed the heat packs because they've got their designated area. And then I think once we get back into summer and these heat packs aren't going to be as popular in summer, I'll be able to remove those out of the way and we'll have Christmas. I'll be able to fill this up with all gift packs for Christmas. So this is going to become like an almost seasonal corner over here. So really, really happy with those changes. So I now have about 10 minutes until I have to open the door. I want to finish this soap off before I have to open the door. Don't want to open up late. There's quite a number of people out there. Don't want to open until I've done this soap though. So I'm going to get on with finishing this soap up and then we're going to get on with the day. I have the hair mask, which we're going to split that up into 3 different scents and we're going to get that all packaged up. And I also have that tallow cream over here. I put the towels on top of these. This was still actually quite warm when I left. I put the towel on here to really hold down my cover, which stops some of that water evaporation, just leaving that towel on the top. And then I don't lose as much product while it's cooling. But this is the tallow cream. We're going to pop that into a big airtight container, and then as I said, I'll scoop it out as and when I need it. So they're the 2 things that I need to do. Plus over here we have all those soaps which I labeled up and I'm going to get those shrink wrapped today as well. But all of that depends upon how many people are going to come into the shop. But as I said, first of all, I need to go and finish this other soap that I am working on over here. from the door. Okay, it is Monday, it's my day off. It is also a public holiday, so there's a lot of people outside doing their gardens and stuff. I'm enjoying a quiet moment. There's been so many lawnmowers going this morning. Pepper and I did go for a walk. It wasn't too hard to get her harness on this morning, so that was an improvement. And I got hubby to drop us up the street as he was driving into work, and we walked back. I think she absolutely thoroughly enjoyed her walk today. She met so many people, and I'm a bit funny when I meet other people when I have her. She's just so excitable, and I'm trying to teach her sort of those etiquettes, and that not everybody likes to be launched at by rocket missile. She just gets so excited to see people, and she jumps and she licks, and we're trying to teach her not to jump, and it's a slow work in progress, but we're slowly getting there. But it's the way that she just barrels at you. She's half the weight of what Lucy was. But I can tell you, Pepper can have me flat on my backside when she runs and jumps at me. She's just got so much power in her. And I'm trying to teach her that us humans, you just have to be a little bit gentle with us occasionally. So I don't always let her approach people that come to us on walks because she's just so hyper. But on this particular walk today, so many people wanted to say hello to her. So I let them say hello. I just warn that she is overexcited, and just, push her down if she's jumping, and to, shout at her if she's not listening. But everyone was so good with her, and she had an absolute ball saying hello to everyone. And then we were almost at the end of the walk, and I felt a little tug on the lead, and I thought, okay, she just wants to stop and go to the toilet or sniff. So I stopped and I looked at her, and she sat her bum down on the grass and just went down on the floor. And it's like, Pepper, the garage door's just there, like 20 more feet, and we can be in the house. Just get up and keep walking. I must admit, I've been really, really lucky with all 3 dogs that we've had, that none of them so far, with Pepper now, have actually just sat and refused to walk any further. So I've been really, really lucky with that. But I think she just got so excited with all these people that she'd met that she just exhausted herself, and she just couldn't go any further. But we did get her up, got her into the house, and then she kind of just collapsed on the tiles, and she slept for the last couple of hours, and she's now out in her garden having a little bit of an explore while I was working on the computer. And so Sunday, I managed to get all the things done that I wanted to get done. It wasn't super busy, but I did have a few people come in. One of the things that was highlighted to me on Sunday was that I never made a tester up for my tallow cream. I had a couple of ladies in who were really, really interested in it. They ended up buying some. So I actually do now need to restock it next week, because I actually sold a fair bit of it. But they also wanted to try it. It's like, oh, I don't have a sampler of it. I said, hang on, I made a fresh pot yesterday. I'll go and get some out of there. So I made up a little sample pot so they could try it, as well as me putting the rest of it away in the airtight container. So that was a silly thing for me to have done, but it's now out on the shelf. And as I said, I do have to make some more batches of it next week because it's almost gone. I got all the hair mask all potted up on the shelf as well. Everything was everything I wanted to do, I got done, and still had those few customers come in. So it was a really, really good day, a really good finish to the whole week as well. Not too many online orders this week, and I tend to find that even in my old shop, if the shop's busy, online tends to be quiet. And I do also find that online tends to be quiet during the holidays because people are busy doing stuff with the kids and off on holidays, so they're not at home ordering as much. So quiet on that front, but good in the shop. So we're sitting just right for the week. So today I have done all of my admin work. The only thing I've got left to do is to finish yakking to you, and then get this bit onto the end of the vlog and get it published. So Lee, it is coming. Your video is coming. I was just getting ready for bed last night, and as I walked down, I'd already put my phone in the bedroom because I use it as my alarm. And I was walking down there and I heard it whistle at me. And I thought, oh, who's messaging me at this time of night? And I went and picked it up. I saw that it was Lee, and she wrote, "It's Sunday night. Why is there no video? Question mark, question mark, question mark." It's like, well, there's not going to be a video at 9 o'clock if there's not one yet. I wrote back and said, because I'm lazy. And I said to her, I just haven't had time to edit videos lately, other than all the ones I'd had pre-loaded. Just haven't had the time. We've been doing a lot of, she's just come in with a stick. We've been doing a lot of gardening work. I've had a few medical appointments. I have been so exhausted as well that I just haven't had the energy to sit at the computer and edit the videos. But I did say I was working on the vlog and I would have it out for her on Monday afternoon. So I've got to go and get that done. So Lee, your video is coming. But one other thing that I did say I would show you was the finished little bag here. So I have finished my little wash bag. I'm pleased with it. I am actually very pleased with the end results, but it's definitely not a pattern that I would make again and again. As I said earlier, I don't know what possessed me to buy it, because it has something on it I don't like, and that is bias binding on the outside to finish seams. I actually prefer to have my seams, probably because I'm lazy, I prefer to have my seams inside things with a nice lining rather than quilted with the bias binding finish. I do find, because of the way my mind works and the perfectionism that I do insist on having, I do find doing your bias binding around these curved edges to be really tedious, to make sure that you hide all your stitching lines. And as I think I explained earlier, I do prefer to hand stitch my bias binding. I don't like when people say, sew the bias binding on, fold it over and top stitch, because 9 times out of 10 you can see that top stitching on the opposite side, and I don't like that. So I end up always hand stitching my bias binding onto them. The pattern's not bad, but I probably wouldn't do it again. I am actually going to make another one, because I actually want to make one for a gift for somebody. But after that, I probably wouldn't actually make any more. Several reasons. One, because even though I really like the end result, I didn't enjoy sewing the bias binding. And also, this person that who created these patterns, they seem to be pretty big in the quilting shops these days. She actually has a whole heap of terms and conditions about the use of her patterns. The thing is, though, these terms and conditions are inside the pattern after you've purchased the pattern, so you actually don't get to see it at the time of purchase. So that actually, by Australian standards, makes those terms and conditions null and void. I don't know about in other countries, but I do know that if terms and conditions of a purchase, it doesn't even have to be a monetary purchase, it can be terms and conditions about entering into doing something with someone. If they're not made clear and visible at the time of purchase or entering into sort of doing something, like say entering into a shop, if those conditions aren't made clear prior to you committing to that event, they're null and void. So because the terms and conditions about the use of the pattern were inside the packaging, the only way for me to have seen them was to stand in the shop, open the packet, take all the instructions out and start reading them, which you can't do. Like, it's very much frowned upon to do that sort of thing. So because I didn't get to read these terms and conditions prior to purchasing and committing to the pattern, they're actually null and void here in Australia. To kind of put it also in perspective, you know, this whole thing about shops reserving the right to check inside your bags, that is only applicable if they have put that sign at the entry of the shop. If that sign is beyond the entry, say on the checkout counter, or maybe a big sign on the back wall so you don't see it as you enter through the doorway of that shop, you do not legally here in Australia have to show your bag to an attendant if it is not shown prior to you walking through the door. So even if you're not going to purchase anything in that shop, part of the contract of entering into that shop is anything that you see at that doorway. So if there is a clear sign, even if you don't see the sign, if the sign is there at the doorway that says we reserve the right to check your bags, legally you've entered the door, past that sign, you must show your bag if you are asked. However, if it's not there at the doorway and it's on the counter after you've entered that shop, you don't have to show it. The same with this pattern, the fact that the terms and conditions were advised after I'd made the purchase, don't have to follow them really. But as a creative myself, I do understand and respect those terms and conditions. If the pattern had been more enjoyable to sew, yeah, I wouldn't have to follow those terms and conditions at all. But as it is, I wouldn't be making these in bulk. They're too tedious to make in bulk. But it also means, because I know that her other patterns are going to have this term and condition in them, I actually won't buy any more of her patterns either, because now you kind of know. You can't then say, well, I didn't know at the time of purchase. I can on this pattern, however. But yeah, because of that, as a creative myself, I will respect what her terms are. And I won't buy any more of her patterns. I will probably actually try, now I've got an idea of sizing and stuff, I will try and create my own pattern to use instead. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, really, really happy with how the bag has come up in the end. And it's something that I will probably use when we go off on little trips and things. So yeah, I did finish that. But yeah, there it is. Anyhow, that is, oh, Pepper, are you proud of yourself? Look at the mess you have just made for me. Oh. So before I go and clean up her mess, I'm going to sign off. I hope you have enjoyed coming along for the April vlog. If you did, why not leave me a thumbs up and any comments down below. And until the next video comes out, I hope you have a good one. I'll see you then. Bye.